Hey, welcome back to the Voice of Crypto. I'm your host, Accent2K2, and today we're going to get started. First thing I want to do is take a look at the bigger picture. So, taking a look at the bigger picture, I have the Bitcoin chart up from Bitstamp, and now this is a monthly chart. Personally, I like to use the Ichimoku Cloud. I also like to use the on balance volume, the OBV, with a 13 EMA. Whenever the 13 EMA crosses over the OBV, it points to a bearish signal, meaning that things could start to sell off. Also, you'd like to use the Williams percentage R. Similar thing, I use the 13 EMA. Once it crosses over the Williams percentage R, also points to a bearish sell off. And I'm using the MAO for a momentum indicator here. So I use all these things just to match up with what's going on in the cloud. I also like to look at the clouds, the cheek out span, and I like to use that for TA for support and resistance, and just to kind of give me an idea, indication besides everything else that's going on with the cloud on what's going on. Also, this is the volume profile. All right, so to make things simple, let's just go ahead and get back to the chart here. So this is the monthly chart, and one of the things that stands out to me is if you look at it, we had this pattern called a C clamp for any of y'all who also use the cloud. We also see that price made a huge M here, which points to looks like a bearish territory, like we could continue to go down, right? Some things that I would look at is normally the C clamp likes to act to a revert to mean. As you can see here, this rally for this cycle started back in October 2020, went all the way up to about April of 2021. We peaked out, sold off, had a little C clamp here, revert to the mean, and then bottomed out about June 2021, which I actually find interesting because, hey, we're at the beginning of June now in 2022. So can history repeat itself? Are we going to start turning back up from now? I don't know. Now, we went back from June of 2021, started heading back up, peaked out in about November of 2021, which was actually the cycle top. Look at the looks from this monthly chart here. So cycle top 2021, that's a long way away from the last cycle top, which was in 2017, December of 2017 here, right? So cycle top, we topped out at around 69,000, at least on this Bitstamp chart, right? So something that I find alarming is we didn't stop here. We didn't stop here because these are levels that I would have looked at for support, and we continue to sell off. Now, we're already below this area right here, which I would have thought would have been a nice level of support. Even this level right here, right? Like where this little notch, little peak is, same thing. We're below that. Now, the cloud just seems to go straight down because we just kind of went straight up here. So worst case scenario, or potentially worst case scenario that I'm looking at is possibly low 10,000s for Bitcoin. And you might ask yourself, how do we get there? Well, if you look at the bigger picture, what's going on, how we had money constantly pumping into the system, cheap money, interest rates were low, we had COVID, lots of government payouts, to citizens worldwide, right? So if you look at it, we were going through that. Everything was party, hoorah, everything going up. Everybody's getting rich, going to the moon, buying Lambos, right? But now that the Fed, as far as from the US, is trying to taper inflation and get a control of it, they're raising interest rates. Raising interest rates is bad for all assets. I don't even care if you're in real estate, if you're in stocks, if you're in crypto. It's bad because there's less cheap money. People have less money to invest, right? So if you look at this, I would say low 10,000s is not out of question, right? Especially when you look at if the Fed is raising interest rates, if we go into a recession, as far as in the U.S., if the U.S. goes into a recession, then it's highly probable that we could see the low 10,000s. Now, I like to use the cheek out span also. And if we look at the cheek out span right here, besides, because we pretty much blew past all these other areas that I would have thought would have been support. So now that we've blown past those, the next level I would look at on a cheek out span is back here. You know, this is from 20. Well, this is kind of mimicking what was going on here, but I would look at this level right here, right? This level we're looking at is about low 14,000s. So I would say if we continue to sell off with Bitcoin, which most of the digital assets are correlated with, then you could see low 14,000s. If low 14,000s don't hold, then you could be looking at low 10,000s for Bitcoin. Now, I know this is not what anyone wants to hear. It's not even what I want to hear. Also, as you can see, volume's kind of been tapering off. Now, could that volume just be tapering off on Bitstamp and most people are using leverage exchanges or other spot exchanges? That's possible, right? Maybe some people are using decentralized protocols. That's possible. But volume's tapering off. That could potentially be a good thing, meaning that, you know, not only is the buy volume tapering off, it looks like even the sell volume's tapering off, which could mean we could be potentially bottoming out and getting ready to turn back around. Now, don't pay too much attention to this volume profile because, you know, that would be ridiculous to look at this down here. Well, for the sake of this monthly chart, let's just ignore the volume profile. So the reason why I wanted to look at Bitcoin first is most of the digital assets tend to follow what Bitcoin is doing. So that's the reason why I wanted to look at that first, just to kind of get, you know, a take on what's going on with the bigger picture. So next, let's take a look at Monero and see what's going on with it. Okay. And bear with me here. I got a message that I have to take. So hang on just a moment here. Give me a moment. All right, so I'm back. Sorry for that. Anyway, so I'm back. I just wanted to touch bases on Monero. Now, I particularly like looking at the 4-hour and the 1-day chart. To me, those are the sweet spots in crypto. Takes out some of the noise. Sometimes I like to look at, on a day trading perspective, the 15-minute chart. I really don't pay too much attention to the hourly anymore, but I mean, you got the hourly, you got the 15, but there's a lot of noise between those. Mainly for me, the sweet spot is going to be the 4-hour and the daily. So if you look at the 4-hour chart here, right, we had a nice juicy dip back here in May, May 11th, where Monero went as far as sold off to $125. Then we had the Monero run, which took Monero all the way to, I'd say, a high at the end of May of $210, right? And then we kind of had some sideways trading, and then we kind of been breaking down as the rest of the crypto market, right? Then when you look at the volume profile here, you can see that we actually have a gap right here that most likely will be filled. Volume profiles usually like to be filled out, kind of, instead of not having just big gaps like that, they're going to want to be more like this, right? But anyways, looking at that, if the volume profile was to fill out a little more, you'd be looking at least $178, right? Again, I like to use the cheek out span, and I would say That could put us somewhere around here, 171, 171.50. Could also line up with, this area when we bottom out back at the end of May on the 4-hour chart, which could create this nice W pattern and take us back up, right? Worst case scenario, we visit the bottom end of this volume profile and start heading back down to the 120s. I don't see that happening. I hope it doesn't happen, but you can't rule it out again with the possibility of going into a global recession, right? So just food for thought. Reason why I like to look at Monero is because, just to summarize it really quickly, when I first got interested in crypto, I knew about Bitcoin from the very beginning, didn't think it would catch on. And then I kind of dabbled in 2015, started charting it and paying more attention. 2017, started paying a lot of attention. And then was in the bear cycle, right? 2018, rode all that out. 2020, 2021 bullish cycle, did very well, paid more attention to altcoins. Towards the end of that cycle, I started realizing that Monero was everything that I was told Bitcoin was, right? So it took me about 2 cycles to really figure that out. So now, for me personally, I like to hodl Monero and pay attention to Monero. Of course, I still pay attention to Bitcoin because Bitcoin, a lot of the digital assets are correlated to it. But my true love at this point is Monero. All right. But we're not going to get into any debates or anything on that. I do still think that Bitcoin has its place as far as being transparent. And it's great, if you want to be able to have maybe funds that are transparent for any particular reason. Monero is great for being digital cash. So looking at all of those factors, like I said, things could get interesting for Monero and crypto as a whole due to the economy probably is going to be tightening up globally, right? We went through massive inflation of assets, and now it looks like we're going to be going through some deflating, right? The bubble is starting to deflate. So not going to spend a lot of time on that. Something else I wanted to talk about real quick was altcoins. So like I said, last cycle, I was really into altcoins, and one of the altcoins I was into happened to be Solana, something that I was interested in. And if we take a look here today, Solana is trading at $39.62. Now, some people would be scared and not buy it. 7 months ago, it was at $259.96. So basically, it's at 85.3% discount compared to what it was 7 months ago. So let me just put this into perspective. If Tesla today said that they would sell you a Tesla car and you really been wanting a Tesla car at an 85% discount, do you think you would buy that Tesla now, or would you wait until it goes back 85.3% up and then want to buy it? So something that I noticed in crypto and stocks is people are quick to chase things that are pumping and going up, but when it's on sale, they act like they're scared to buy it. The best time to buy Solana wasn't at $259.96 chasing the top. The best time to buy would be somewhere around now, possibly even lower. But one of the things that I'm doing this cycle, this bear cycle, is dollar cost averaging. That could mean you could take a percentage of every direct deposit. You can put yourself on a plan, buying monthly, weekly, daily, however you want, and just buy a little. So if you're scared, I wouldn't put my life savings in anything, but if you're scared to invest, thinking that things can go lower, then just put a little bit in instead of a big lump sum. Put a little bit in every now and then, spoon feed it. And in that way, I like to look at it as like forming. I hate to say that because of staking and yield forming has kind of tainted that phrase, but think of it this way. You plant your seeds now, around the $39.65. So later, when things go back to $259.96, you can reap your harvest. So you plant your seeds now. So later when we're back in the bull market, you'll be able to sell at a nice profit. So just food for thought. Again, my name is Accent2K2. This is the voice of crypto. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell, and stick around, tune in, and look out for new videos. Thank you.